It's another Manly Monday, and this Manly Monday, we're talking about um, the difference between vanity and taking pride in your appearance. And this was inspired by some conversations I had last week, one of which was um, there was a whole conversation on the Discord server about Joe Rogan's hair plugs. Elon Musk may have come into it, but there was a whole discussion about whether or not it was vanity, and that spurred some other conversations. There were other ones about, men and dating and thinking that they have to be, actor good looking to attract women. And then, Gene Hackman's death, that was an odd one, but in his obituaries there were quotes where he said that he thought that you had to be good looking to be an actor, and that's an interesting quote from an award-winning actor. So there's always been things about men and looks, but it is becoming increasingly relevant. I hate that term. Because last week's episode of The Rookie, holy shit, I was angry, okay? Because there was this, car thief slash, I don't know if he was a murderer too or something like that, but he was supposedly really good looking. You know that shiny, sleazy, has a tattoo with wings on it somewhere on his arm or chest, and this hair that is doing this thing, and I don't know, it looks so, it's not my thing, but apparently this is supposed to be a very attractive man in this day and age, because all the female cops on the show were being super unprofessional and inappropriate because this guy was supposedly so good looking. And I was like, why are we making a joke about women being as dumb as we used to depict men being? And I don't know what's going on with that show lately, because apparently also loving your wife and supporting your wife means helping her cover up crimes, because she did it because domestic abuse. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that show. But there are definitely increased media messages to men, including social media, that looks matter. But then, some very interesting conversations with men who said that if you try to do anything to improve your looks, you're accused of being vain. And, the topic of hair loss, especially, that's a thorny one. And I'm not going to dig into that one, specific one, too much. I happen to like bald guys, so that I'm biased on that one. But one of the things somebody said is, the just shave your head and forget about it thing. Some guys don't want to. They don't like the way their head looks with no hair. And it's like, you know what? That's cool, right? If you don't feel like it's you, don't do it. And I personally don't have any issues with however anybody wants to look if it makes them feel good. And that's the difference, right? I got a piece of toast on my face there. Oh, well. Speaking of looks, but taking pride in your appearance is different than vanity, right? I think that probably the biggest thing about vanity is, a guy like Andrew Tate, that he was cartoonish. And honestly, I think that a lot of the reason women would even consider a guy that ridiculous is because of the promise of money. which means the vain appearance is just a symbol. Um, the As opposed to the actual connotation. Now, there are some women who like certain things physically, and okay, cool. But there is this, like, this min-maxing going on in opinion. And no matter how many times you say to a guy, look, plenty of women, if you're into women, will like you, will want to be your partner without you looking a certain way. And I mean, I think that the reason that vanity comes up, vanity has a sort of negative connotation that taking pride in your appearance doesn't, right? Taking pride in your appearance is being the best you can be, and not doing things that are harmful to look that way. And one of the reasons I don't like the whole, like, Marvel superhero look, and I specifically say Marvel because, on Superman and Lois, the guy who played Superman, Tyler, what was his last name? Hoechlin or something like that. And he actually wore a muscle suit. And he looked perfectly fine without it. But, he was a baseball player. So he's not like Chris Hemsworth and Thor thing. And I mean, there's a ton of conversation online about all those actors doing gear to get that big for the movies. And that, I don't think that's okay, because there are serious health ramifications, including mental health ramifications to doing, and there are people that insist, oh no, human growth hormone's totally safe. And then you see the guys with these like lumpy jaws, right? Clearly they're taking too much if there is a safe level. But, steroids can really mess you up, including your ability to regulate your emotions. Why are we encouraging a physicality that requires that, right? That's not healthy. That's, you could even say, toxic, right? And that's very different from, and okay, they're doing it for a job. And like I said, I think they should just use digital if they want that requirement. I personally think it looks kind of ridiculous. Like, you look at a guy like, and yeah, I know a lot of wrestlers do steroids too, but if you look at a guy like, say, John Cena, who looks that way all the time, instead of these, Jason Momoa bulks up for a part and then he gets made fun of for having a bit of a dad bod in between. Like, why are people making fun of him for that? He doesn't need to look that way all the time, so he does not. That seems like a person who is comfortable with themselves. By the way, even bodybuilders, like professional bodybuilders, don't look that way all the time because you can't. And I think that this is important to talk about, because that is vanity, right? That's the unhealthy, that's the self-destructive version of it, as opposed to putting a reasonable amount of effort in to look your best, not a ridiculous, unhealthy ideal, just the best version of you. And the difference is whether you're making yourself miserable to do it, or whether it's turning you into a complete Andrew Tate level flaming asshole, right? It's so weird that hypermasculinity allegedly becomes gay coded at some point. Like, I don't know. But anyway, it's hard to know where to draw the line. And this is where I really thought with this one and started thinking about the fact that no matter what, you get made fun of. You get mocked for something. And I am not talking the affectionate goofing, like the affectionate trash talk, ribbing among friends. I am talking people are just mean. And so if that's what's motivating you to feel bad about the way you look, everyone gets that. I talked about, to the guy who brought this concern to me initially. I said that I remember when I worked at Much Music, the music channel in Canada, and one of the Supernatural guys was in, I think it was Jared Padalecki. And the comments that were made about this poor actor who was coming because he was a celebrity and they thought he was a draw, right? But the shit talking that people did about the fact that, the two guys on Supernatural took off their shirts more than was strictly necessary, right? Because it was a CW show and it was teen girls and it was titillating. And the shit things people said about him, the mockery. And so, one, that taught me that just because a guy's good looking doesn't mean he gets respect. And two, holy shit, you fuckheads, be a little professional. That is his job. And, I said that as somebody who did that job too. There was a period in my career where I wore very few clothes. That was my job, right? It seems weird. It was weird at the time. It was weird that anybody wanted me to do this because this was before the thick trend. Like, this was when women like me, did not do that in media. And that was kind of the point. But it was my job. And it was a lot of work. And it was physically draining. And people assumed I was a dumb, narcissistic slut because of it. And so no matter what you do, even if you're allegedly prized for that, I got, people just like her because of how she looks. And I got, well, she's fucking fat and ugly. Why is she doing that at the exact same time? And where it left me was, it's just not real. It's not real. I didn't get Henry Cavill, for instance. It's like, I yes, facially structured. It's a nice face, but it's like, why is he more attractive? Why is he seen as some pinnacle? That I didn't get, right? And then I discovered his Instagram where he posts pictures of his dog, and I'm like, that I get. Like him building like a PC during COVID, like that's cool. Like personality points, okay. I get this part. And so if something gives you confidence so that you can have the riz, right? You can be charismatic. You can roll with the punches. You can be comfortable in your own skin so people around you are more comfortable in their skin. For instance, I'm very glad guys felt comfortable enough to talk to me about something like this because it's vulnerable and it's hard to talk about. And so I'm glad that they felt I was somebody they could talk to about it. That's good. And that's, because I'm comfortable enough with me and my perceived inadequacies to be someone who, maybe they thought would understand. I don't know. But I'm just somebody that people tell things. And cool. I've turned that into something that I think is a relatively positive thing in the world. But, part of both having multiple, chronic diseases and disabilities and talking to people all day means I can't do the really aggressive diet and exercising I used to do when I was younger and, wore a Leia bikini for a living. No, really, I was on G4 in Olivia Munn's, I won Olivia Munn's Slave Leia beauty contest. There's footage out there of it. But that I'm like, what? And I remember when G4 approached us on that, we were like, we're not competitive. Like the whole idea where anyone who wants to wear the bikini can, and we're not, but TV, right? We went along with it. There were like 6 of us that went, whatever, fuck. It was we'll take one for the team, right? And it's like, what's your talent? Like, this was all last minute. It was like, I can belly dance. And apparently that was a thing. They compared me to Shakira. Only time in my life I've been compared to Shakira. I'll take it. I love Shakira. Yeah. It's a thing. And it's a real double-edged sword. And I'm talking about this to let guys know that it won't ever be enough. Never, ever, ever. It just won't, right? Henry Cavill is mocked, right? There's a reason that they tried to smear him as being difficult on The Witcher, right? Because, actors are just divas. They're difficult. That's something. It is a really easy thing to label a performer as difficult or narcissistic because everyone assumes that that's why there's a focus on looks. And it's not. Somebody had to do it. It's not. I was told to do the stupid spray tan back in the day. The lighting guys complained if you were too pale. If you were too dark, they just didn't use you in foregrounds. That's a conversation for another time. One of the times I did completely lose my shit on a set is because we had this really good, really popular dancer on the show and they kept shoving her in the back. And I was like, what? She's popular. Put her in the front. Well, it's not lit. They didn't like black skin and we were supposed to move the girl instead of change the light. I lost my monkey shit. And I stand by that, right? Because that is discriminating someone based on the way they look. What the fuck? But that's how stupid it is, right? And they were all looking at me like, what's your problem? It's going to be a delay. I'm like, I don't give a shit. It should have been fixed. It shouldn't be this way in the first place. This is a mistake. Fix it. Fuck. But trust me, Henry Cavill gets plenty of crap. Plenty of crap. I guarantee you, even about his looks. Everyone gets shit talked about your looks. It's never going to be enough. Okay? And so it's got to just be enough for you. If you're constantly on this, quest to, if I just do this one more thing, if I just do this one more thing, if I just do this one more drug, if I just exercise till I pass out one more time, if I just starve myself. No, there's more to life than that. And, a guy like Elon Musk, who has had a lot of cosmetic practices, right? Thinks he has to save the world by spreading his DNA to as many children as possible. And it's like, dude, if your DNA is so superior, like what's with the failing jaw implant, And it's, again, my taste is biased, but I see old pictures of Elon Musk pre all the work, and I think he looked better then. But that's subjective, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think. And that is the point. It does not matter. We get into these big boobs, small boobs, bald hair, long hair. It's also dumb. Because to me, you look at someone and the most attractive thing is someone who is authentically themselves and happy with it. And so I'll see somebody who is like crushing it, and it may not be my type, but it's like, yeah, that guy's got it going on. Same with women. you know? And it's just sort of somebody who's comfortable in their own skin. And so anything you're doing to feel like you're comfortable in your own skin that isn't super dangerous, there is a certain amount of, if you're healthy, that's what matters. Big muscles don't necessarily mean health. Can mean heart attack waiting to happen, maybe a brain aneurysm, right? Interviewing Chris Benoit was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Story for another day again. But yeah, if it makes you feel more confident and it is safe, go for it. But if it's never enough, if you're going, oh, if I looked like that, I'd be happy and girls would like me. It's not the way it works. You gotta like you. And I know that's a frustrating thing for a lot of guys. It's like, how can I do that when nobody else does? And the truth is, I think there's more people that like you than you think. Self-loathing is going to cut through. I mean, that's what I see with Elon Musk. That's what I see with Joe Rogan, right? It's just loathing, unadulterated loathing for themselves, right? And no matter what they looked like, that would be the only thing I could see. So if you want somebody who appreciates you for you, that's the important thing, right? You got to be your best self, or the best self you can be right now. Everybody's a work in progress, right? And part of being your best self is like, yeah, I'm working on this thing, but I'm okay as it is. I generally like myself. That's where you want to get to. And that's a combination of, well, yeah, I get that this isn't an ideal, but I kind of like it, so I'm keeping it, And then there's the stuff, yeah, I kind of want to work on this. This kind of makes me feel bad. I think this could be better. That combination, that's taking pride in yourself. Vanity is an unending quest for an impossible ideal. And that's why, or it's a sign of narcissism. Both of those are not great. And this is where you need people to bounce off of. This is where you need people to talk to get other opinions, to sort of be able to talk, to work stuff out. Because it is a work in progress. We're all works in progress, right? Who you are at 50 is not who you were at 20. And if you're still trying to be who you were at 20, at 50, that's a sign, there's some inner work that needs to be done. So hopefully this helped find some balance, find some contentment in this sea of criticism and negativity and the 666 and all that bullshit. Like, please believe me, not all women are like that. Most women aren't even like that. Do not get your view of women from YouTube influencers. They are not typical. And here's the thing, the woman you probably think is gorgeous probably doesn't feel that way about herself. So, only a very narcissistic woman would put looks as a first thing. The thing I hear from most women I talk to, the first, brush your teeth and don't stink. Those are the two requirements. Everything else, it's that phenomenon of, if you're a good person, you get better looking as the person talks to you. And it is incredible to me how many perfectly good looking guys I work with, actively attractive guys, I think, feel low about themselves. And I'm interested in the comments, what we can do about that. What messages we can send to these guys that no, they have attractive qualities. They do, and decent people who won't take advantage of them or try to change them just to control them, they'll see that. Like, you want to attract the people who are good for you. Not everyone. No one can attract everyone. Okay? I'm curious what you can get. Oh, I didn't do the help support this channel off the top. I was right into the topic. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/Leanna K. Or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it. Coffee.com/Leanna K. A lot of these conversations happen in Leanna Care sessions, so it's a good little ecosystem we got here. But your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching Manly Mondays.